so we spoke to Malini ji, and we came together, and obviously she is a guru of folk music. She is a legend, and yeah. So then she took out these songs, which were very popular songs, which have been coming over hundreds of years, ever since Holi has been celebrated in India.
Instrumental music doesn't have any lyrics. So whatever we emote, even through ragas, uh, it's also who we are as individuals. Your nature reflects onto your music.
See, I'll tell you, if you hear all the holy songs, some songs, like if you go back to Shri Amit Bachchan Sahab, when he sang the Silsila, that was authentic, that was very simple, that was very, very UP, which Holi
UP
was.
Avdi, yeah, right.
Avdi, yeah? After that, there was some movie of Akshay Kumar and Priyanka Chopra with Let's Play Holi. But that didn't go through people. The first time of Bhagwan, I was when she sung it, I thought that why are we repeating a song from a movie? जहाँ पे उसने मुझे बताया कि no, this is not a movie song. This is a very old traditional song picked up by some music director in the past.
Great masters of all the legends. Earlier, one recording would change your life, but now they have hours and hours of recordings available. But beyond that, you can't let go of the realism of the power of blessings.
Welcome to Innovating Sosha. I am Yatamanyu Narain, and I'm with the very talented musicians Amaan and Ayaan and Bangash, who have recently released their new album, Colors and Celebration. And it pays homage to Holi. So we're going to talk about that and more. Hello, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Such a pleasure.
So, hi. Thank you so much for having us.
Right. So, Holi is often associated with unrestrained joy and chaos. But classical music demands structure and discipline. So, how did you strike a balance between these two seemingly, opposing forces in colors and celebrations?
See, classical music is basically freedom within discipline.
Right.
So it doesn't mean that it's restricted. And obviously, there's 7 main sources, as you call it, and 12 combination sources. So the whole universe music is based out of these 12 notes, to be honest. So this album was conceptualized by my brother and me, which was last year. We had done one track with Malini ji in some other album. So that was like just one track with her, and there were other musicians also in that. But we took that as a window, and we said, let's visit the space again, and let's make a Holi album, because we've never done a Holi album, Ayaan and Amaan. And we've always been experimental with our work in terms of, apart from our mainstream traditional classical music that we do, we like to always venture out into a lot of other things, because I think I think it keeps the musician alive from inside. So we spoke to Malini ji, and we came together, and obviously she is a guru of folk music. She is a legend, and So then she took out these songs, which were very popular songs, which have been coming over hundreds of years, ever since Holi has been celebrated in India. So we revisited those songs, and in our own way programmed it, and I hope it does well, because for the first time, this is what we call a commercial album.
Right.
It's for the masses, yeah.
Right. So, you guys also mentioned that the interplay between, sarod and vocals in this album, it mirrors the interaction between colors and canvas. So, can you break down a specific moment in the album where this relationship manifests most vividly?
You see, Indian classical music always had ragas that were associated with Holi. There were a lot of spin-offs like Thumri, Kajri, all those things, which was all very closely associated, with Holi, like in so many of the paintings, the miniatures, and all of that. So that's why for us, folk music was also the most natural form of music, which eventually developed into classical music. That has been the history. So for us, it was a very seamless kind of a transition. Malini ji, of course, being, so much at ease with the whole folk genre, so all the very popular songs traditional songs associated with Holi, she sang them, and we improvised within those musical notes, so which was wonderful for us. That was how, that kind of a marriage happened between, the folk songs and classical music. No, they're all based on the same 12 notes of music,
Right.
any music in the world, Aman Bhai just mentioned. So
Right.
that's why it's really, a kind of a homage to Holi, to the fact that, colors have no race, they are beyond borders, we're all one. And the fact that, uh, this is also a day to move on. You set aside differences and continue,
Right.
the journey of life with color and with color and happiness.
Right. 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 So I mean, one of the tracks, "Colors of Love," which is Rasioko Na, it explores the romantic dimension of Holi. So how does the sarod lend itself to expressing themes of longing and passion in this composition?
And by,
You see, it's again the interpretation of the artist. You see, end of the
Right.
day, instrumental music doesn't have any lyrics.
Right.
So whatever we emote, even through ragas, uh, it's also who we are as individuals. Your nature
Right.
reflects onto your music. Your journey called
Right.
life reflects onto the music. I mean, what my brother and I were, say, 10 years ago, we are not the same people today.
Right.
And hence, can see that in the music. So that's why, songs like what you mentioned, Rang Darungi, there's Aaj Biraj Mein. I mean,
Yeah.
every song is such a beautiful flavor. And two, we kept it instrumental. So that was
Right.
our way of, kind of our spoken words through just music without lyrics.
Right. 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 But like folk music and classical music, they have a very different stylistic approaches. So were there any moments where you had to rethink your composition style to align with Malini Awasthi these vocal textures?
no, basically, we were complimenting her song because
Right.
the album is based out of a song. Song is the forefront of it. So we were
Right.
obviously improvising in sort of a bit of in technical terms, rag, khamaj, alaya,
Kamal.
bilawal. These are certain names.
Zilla
So yeah, so
Zilla.
whatever. Sorry, on the first track. Sorry, on the second track is
Right.
Zilla Kafri and forth
Right.
on. So
Right.
yeah, so the first song that's been released now, video,
Right.
is based out of Khamaj and a bit of Alaya Bilawal and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah, so ऐसा कुछ नहीं. It was just impromptu. It was all impromptu. Nothing was
Right.
so much planned. It was basically what we felt hearing the song when she sung it, and how much
Right.
we could come in with our creativeness.
हम लोग बाराती थे फूल बरसाया हमने सिर्फ
नहीं, कई बार इम्प्रॉम्प्टू चीज में ही बहुत अच्छी चीज है, बहुत अच्छी चीजें
जी
निकलती हैं.
जी जी
Right.
जी.
Right. So, I mean, the album was also recorded using rare vintage microphones and, spatial audio techniques. So, what was the goal behind these choices?
No, on the video you're saying, in the video we
No,
have
no.
mics?
You see,
Audio.
the gentleman who we worked with, who programmed everything, Sai Shravana,
Right.
he has a uh, he has an amazing ear for kind of how each and every instrument should sound, how
Or
each of
analog? Yeah.
can
Right.
can sound. So he has a technical mind. So it's wonderful when we can add newer elements. Like even Aman Bhai has a very technical mind. He's the engineer when we are traveling. I mean, with the mics of the instruments we use, all
Right.
those
Right.
constantly wanting to evolve the sound of the instrument, which is very important.
Right. 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 So, I mean, some say that, festivals like Holi, it lose their deeper meaning when commercialized. So, I mean, with colors and celebration, are you attempting to, reclaim the spiritual and cultural essence of this particular festival through music?
See, I'll tell you, if you hear all the holy songs, some songs, like if you go back to Shri Amit Bachchan Sahab, when he
Yeah.
sang the Silsila, uh, that was authentic, that was very simple, that was very, very UP, which holy
UP
was.
Avdi, yeah, right.
Vidhi, yeah.
Yeah.
After that, there was some movie of Akshay Kumar and Priyanka Chopra with Let's Play Holi. But that didn't go through people. I mean, sorry, it's a
Right.
lovely song.
Yeah.
There must be 500 Holi songs, but out of which only 6, 7 have come out, and every Holi party it's on a repeat. Those same songs.
Exactly. Like there's
So
one in Bagban
Bhagwan
also.
also, and
Yeah.
Bhagwan का गाना यही है. ना, this is an old song. These are very
Holi ke liye
Adish Raste picked up a local song, which is a local
Right.
song, but so he made it electronic or whatever he did.
Right.
But with
Right.
Malini ji, because she herself represents UP, that whole
UP.
Banaras culture, and all of that she does.
Right.
So who else better than her? And she has a
Right.
rustic sound. वो जो एक पुराना गिरजा देवी जी की एक आवाज होती थी, जो एक पुराना एक टप्पा और होली का जो एक माहौल था. So that's why we
Uh,
wanted to work with her, because Ayan bhai and I could have taken any fancy singer and
any
gone and recorded. But
exactly,
Holy doesn't come out.
exactly.
Holy, you listen to a voice of a throat, of a pitch. It's a very देसी colloquial जिसको कहते हैं ना, जो जो
Uh-huh.
गाना गाया जाता है होली लोग के घरों में ढोलक लेकर. So that was the whole thought, that anyone can sing it and it should sound that anyone can enjoy it.
Anyone can right. Correct.
And
So
also, we were very fortunate to have met Malini ji's guru on so many occasions, Girja Devi ji. She
Gita
used to
Devi.
tie my father. She used to tie my father Rakhi. So, that equation was very special, which she
Right.
values as well. So I think at
Right.
some level, it was a lot of mutual respect for one another's legacies, for one another's music. So I'm saying that what's most important, that while you're saluting to each other's legacies, the hearts have to meet. That's how collaborations happen. I mean, music follows later, but you have to have a good equation and a good kind of understanding before you
Right.
work together.
Right. Right. So I mean, in creating this album, did you guys discover any forgotten or underrepresented holy musical traditions that deserve wider recognition?
Yeah. Even like the first song of Bhagwan,
Right.
I was when she sung it, I thought that why are we repeating a song from a movie? जहाँ
Okay.
पे उसने मुझे बताया कि no, this is not a movie song. This is a very old traditional song picked up by some music director in the past.
Right.
So these
Right.
are all authentic. These 4-5 songs जो है इसमें, these are all very authentic songs of Holi,
Right.
which was very from the village, as you call it.
Right. Right. Right.
And इसमें ज्यादा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक ये सब यूज नहीं करा. सिंपल ढोलक
Simple.
सरोद simple रखा, so that it should sound real. That's all. That's the whole ethos behind it.
Right, right, right. So I mean, your early recordings, focused primarily on classical music, but over time, like you mentioned, I mean, we explored fusion, orchestral collaboration, and even jazz. So how has your artistic vision evolved over the years?
Vision in terms of as a growth, you're saying?
As a duo, yeah,
I know. I think every day we live a life of a student.
yeah,
It's with all humility and all the gratitude. I mean, we have for whatever God has blessed us with.
right,
To have a career which is now going almost 35 years is a long time, and touch wood, it's only by God's grace there's a growth happening
right,
musically. We're getting a lot of love of people. It's not that it's gone down. Touch wood. प्यार
right,
मिलता है लोगों का, बहुत बड़ी बात है.
right,
You're still relevant. You're still working. You're still, because I feel you can never achieve anything.
right, right,
It's a state of mind. The day you think you've achieved, that's the full stop that you create in your career. So it is all about what can I offer to music, not
right,
what I can take from music, but what can I offer to music.
right, right,
That
right,
is the attitude. And as I quote a great musician, he said, "Don't be the best performer, be the best student in the room."
right, right.
So that is very important, to have the attitude of being a student and wanting to learn more, not thinking that, I'm so and so, I'm of a certain age,
Conquer the
now I
world.
need to tell people. Yeah. So you should always be humble, down to earth, and just keep learning and improving.
Right, right, right.
You
So
see,
I
the
mean, you
sense of
both,
responsibility is not something that can be inculcated. That has to be from within. So
within,
I think in that case, there's always been a concern to sound better, concern to evolve, concern to constantly do an introspect and a retrospect to your craft. And
right,
I don't think we've ever been happy with, like, this album is out now, and now we move forward. We don't look back. We've done
so you
this, we've done.
don't,
Yeah,
yeah,
you have to start over again
right.
from ground zero. That's
Right.
what.
Because many people, they emotionally attach themselves to their project, and then they say, okay, this is it. But I mean, you guys don't emotionally attach yourself to your projects like that.
You have to know, when you're making it, in the process of it, there's a
Right.
lot of attachment to it. Then you hand it over to the universe. Then you can't keep calling it back from the universe.
Right. Right. Right.
Because you are not the creator. You are just the medium that was you are the medium for the creation. It
Right.
was a creator's property. So when you give it to the creator, you leave it at with him or her, and you move on, and
Right.
you become a process of another creation.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, you both have worked with an eclectic range of artists. I mean, from Grammy-nominated Krishna Das to, rock guitarist to
Yeah.
Walsh. Can you share some experiences from working on such, creative projects or with such creative people?
The only first thing and the last thing I notice about all these great people is humility.
Hmm.
They don't behave like a Joe Walsh inside the studio. They don't behave like a Sharon Isburn. They don't behave. They behave like kids. They're
Okay.
so excited about creating. They behave like kids. They don't even behave like they're some stars. And
Right,
that
right,
is the most amazing part of cross cultural innovations and creations. That with them, unfortunately, sometimes when you work with people over here. I mean, we
right,
have all Indians, but then sometimes you have musicians who have some attitude before they enter the studio, and that is
right,
a sad part of growth. I mean, they are
right.
amazing musicians, but there are few of them who are great musicians but have a so-called mind that they think that they are the best fusion artists or they're the best so and so. And that's where the problems start. But with all these great artists, like as the names you suggest,
Yeah,
you mentioned, they are just humble people and they are just very focused about what they want to do.
what they want to do. Right, right,
Yeah.
right. So, I mean, with social media and streaming platforms changing how music is consumed, do you feel classical musicians need to adapt? Or, I mean, should they remain rooted in, traditional performance settings?
See, classical music, I think, over the past so many decades has very organically kind of, found its way and adapted to the changing times very organically. There's no one spare leading it. But it
Right,
just happened very organically. And obviously, the artist played a very big role in this. I mean, obviously, what was being presented in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and today was being played in 2025, it's very different. Without
right.
maybe without diluting the craft, everyone has given it a new spin. Your
Unused.
classical music is streaming now. Classical music is on all over Spotify. So
Right,
it's inculcated itself in the present time, and
right,
now I think it's peaking as a craft because there's so many students playing so well because they have so much content easily available. The
right,
research of all great masters of all the legends. Earlier, one recording would change your life, but now they have hours and hours of recordings available. But
right.
beyond that, you can't let go of the realism of the power of blessings, the power of riyaz and hard work. All of that is
Right,
very, very important. I mean, you just can't do away with that. That's very
right,
important.
right,
Uh,
right,
you have to
right,
seek blessings from your guru. I mean, all of that is part of the process.
right, right, right. So, I mean, many young musicians, they hesitate to pursue classical music due to its, rigorous training. So, what would you say to encourage the next generation to keep the tradition alive?
See, it's time consuming and it's hard work. I'll be very
Right,
upfront with you. A lot of people avoid it. It's not because they feel what are we going to get out of it, because it is today unreal to be a classical musician. When
right,
you can be an influencer with a cell phone and make lakhs of rupees sitting, why
right,
would you go sit and do rayas for 8 hours to become a
right,
classical musician? Only
right,
people who are passion driven are getting into it finally. So I think now the real. So earlier back then, a lot of people got into it because of some other reason, because there's no other, not something more to do.
right,
See, it comes without education. You don't need to have degree to be a classical musician or any creative person, right?
right,
You can pursue it whenever you want.
right,
Classical music is slightly more demanding because there are more rules to it.
right,
Like guitar is a tough instrument, but yeah, but if I know the basic chords, I can have 10 shows a month being a guitarist because I know the songs and I can
yeah,
give chords to it. But in
right,
classical music, when you're on stage and you're facing an audience of 5,000 people, it's you and your creation, and that's where it ends. So
And
you have
there's
to
no
hold the audience. It's like a
there's no
batsman. There's no retake, no matter how much you've practiced on the pitch, but when the first ball is bowled, you have to hit that shot.
right. And you have to
You
do it
know,
correctly.
you have to do it, and it's a thing of. So it's about, I think, to be a successful musician. When I look back in a lot of
Right,
people's journey, my own journey, the
right,
word is humility and consistency that takes you through
right,
the dark tunnel of practice.
right,
And it has
right,
to be passion driven. Otherwise, there's no. This is a craft which, if there's no passion, and like I said earlier, the sense of responsibility. I mean, that you see, beyond the point, your guru can't tell you how much to practice. Your guru can guide you. But
Right.
where you want to go with your craft, that's a relationship between you and your craft.
Right.
That no one can push you to a cliff and say you have to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that where you want to go with your craft and what are your dreams musically, that's a personal journey you have with your music.
Right, right, right. So, I mean, finally, is there an uncharted territory, in music that still excites you? I mean, perhaps, an unconventional collaboration or, experimental approach that you have to yet to explore. So, is there something that you guys want to do in future?
Yeah. As a musician, you should be restless. You should never be
Right,
satisfied. Yes,
right,
satisfied of the blessings, yes, but not satisfied musically because there's so much more to achieve. Uh, there are projects which are on hold also. There's one project with Rahman Saab we are working on.
Oh,
So that, yeah, with Rahman Saab, that was also should be on the pipeline. So there are many more projects that you'll get to know about. We're thinking about doing some big project with nature. So कुछ ना कुछ चलता रहता है.
चलता
Apart from
रहता
the
है.
mainstream.
I said it, and music is such a big ocean. There's something on Amanda's lines, but also something with R&B we want to do. That's something that we want to
Oh,
have. Yeah, so
wow.
stuff like that. There's so much to do. But again, we take time because it has to be appealing. End of the day, there has to be a story. There has to be a genre. So
I would love to see an interplay between Sarod and R&B. I mean, that would be something.
So
true,
all
true.
this is lined up for, I think, May, June, July sort of a thing. So there are a
Okay,
lot of
okay.
albums coming out,
Wow.
but not we don't, and also honestly we don't take out albums just for the heck of it. We
Heck of
take it
it.
out
Yeah.
when there's a situation to it, like if like Holi aa raha hai,
Right,
or nature ko lekar, wildlife ko lekar, all that stuff where we are passionate about, we get into it.
right, right.
That's the whole ethos of it. Yeah.
Because of our touring schedules, sometimes we don't end up going to studios for months, but
Right,
it's something we always want to do. So that's
right.
why something when we get the time, then we do maybe many things one after the other.
But you guys are also touring all the time. So I mean, you have to balance that as well. So
Yeah,
I
but
mean, how do you?
we enjoy the process of recording in studios. Yeah.
Right, 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 right. Yeah. So I mean, that's it. Thank you so much for joining. I mean,
No,
for
thank you so much. Thank you.
interacting and
To you. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm looking for. We all are looking forward to more amazing music and more experimental kind of music from you guys in the coming
Hopefully,
time.
Thank you.
hopefully.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Need your good wishes. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you.